Here we go again.
Welcome back to Donuts in Space and part 9 of the USS Voyager rebuild. Can't really do a lot of painting at the moment. I say unfortunately, some people do like the hot weather, but unfortunate for me, and unfortunate for hobbyists really that need to do painting. Can't at the moment because it's too darn hot. It's plus 30 degrees. And has remained so for the last few days. I mean, it's not as hot as the heat wave that we had back in June, but yeah, it's still too hot to really do painting. I had to do some last night because I needed to get my chili grill sorted out, and that was only a real light dusting of paint, to be fair, so there was no issues there. I mean, the other thing as well, actually, we haven't had any rain for about 2 months down this end. I mean, I know there has been some in other parts of the country, but we've not had any rain at all really for the last sort of 2 months. So everywhere's looking a bit dry, and even the trees are looking a little bit sad at the moment. And one of the other things that I've actually noticed as well, to be fair with this, is the fact the birds at the moment just do not have the energy to sing. I've not heard a bird tweeting for at least 2 weeks now, to be fair, so I think those poor little buggers are actually on their last legs. So hopefully we get some rain for them soon. In fact, I haven't actually seen a bird flying full stop. I mean, I know they're about. They tend to come out a little bit in the evening to see what they can forage for. But that's about it. Apart from that, you don't see any around. It's too hot for them, and I can understand that myself. But there you go. Anyway, back onto the build. So at the moment, I'm kind of working on both of the warp nacelles, getting those sorted out. So we've got the this one is the starboard one. So we've got the green SMD for the nav light. Obviously we got the blue lights in for the chiller grills, and then we've got the red light for the Bussard scoops. Now I'm not sure what it is with these bulbs, to be fair, but they just don't seem as bright as they were on the other one that I did. I don't know why, to be fair, because they were working fine. Even if I connect them up to the power source that the ship's going to be working from, they still remain like this. I mean, in some respects it's not too bad, but in other respects it's like, wow, okay, you know, need a little bit more light than that really, to be fair, but hey ho, never mind. It is what it is. So I don't really know what to do about that, to be fair, and I'm not going out and buying any more LED tape really, to be fair. Even when I put them up to 12 volts, actually, to be fair, they don't seem to get any brighter than that. And I can't remember, as I say, I just cannot remember them being that dim. I mean, alright, I know it was about 6 years ago that I last built this kit, but, you know, that's it just doesn't seem to be that bright. But what we've basically been doing is with the chiller grills there, let's just move that deflector dish out of the way. So with the chiller grills themselves, basically what I've done with those is I've put a very, 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 very thin coat of the Tamiya XF6, which is the copper colour. And all that is just basically thinned down as normal that you would use for an airbrush. And all I did was I just controlled it really with the actual airbrush itself, really, which is one of the benefits of having a dual action airbrush, is the fact that you can control the amount of paint and the amount of air that goes through it at any one time. So I kind of backed off really on the paint side of things, just so it would basically give it a very thin coating to make it look as though it was actually a solid colour, when in fact it's actually not. And that's actually worked quite well. I mean, you can see there really that it does actually look as though it is a solid colour, but when you put it over there, and that's a good, what, 4 or 5 inches away from those LEDs, and you can see there that the light has got absolutely no problem going through that at all. So I'm quite happy with the way that they turned out, much better than the last one. That was the first time I'd done something like that, to be fair, and when I put it together I thought, well, you know what, I actually put a little bit too much copper on those, learned the lesson, and just basically redone them like that, and they look 100% better. The parts for the Bussard scoops on the studio model, after looking at it a little bit further, I noticed that they had a milky consistency to them. Now with these, basically all I've done is I've used 600 grit wet and dry sandpaper, and basically frosted them. Didn't like how that turned out, so then gave them 2 coats on both sides with Humbrol matte varnish, and that got them down to where I wanted them. Now they don't have a milky consistency per se in regards to those at the moment. So what I was thinking of doing was actually just putting a really thin dry brushing of the Tamiya matte white on the inside, to see if that would give them the kind of colour that I'm looking for when they're switched off, which I'm kind of hoping it will. And also at the same time I need to be really careful, because I don't want to put so much on there that when I do turn them on, that the Bussard scoops light up pink, because this isn't Lady Penelope's Rolls Royce, and we don't want anything pink on there, to be fair. So we just have to have a look and see what we can do. If it doesn't work, then I'll just be quite happy to continue with them as they are, to be fair. The deflector array is another area that I've been looking at as well. Let's get that in shot there. The back side of it was actually sanded down using the 800 grit wet and dry. That was okay. And then on this side, because I need to do some painting on this side and also a lot of masking, I didn't really want to spray that down with clear varnish, because if I would have done that, then as soon as you pull up the masking tape it will come off, because it just will not really stick properly to a shiny surface. So I basically used my air eraser to get the results on that, so that's looking good. So I can just basically go in between the little ribs with some teeny tiny masking tape and take those off, and spray the whole thing down in well, I'll give it a light blocking coat first and then I'll spray it down with a couple of coats of the orange, which it should be just as it was on the last Voyager. One of the other things as well that I noticed on the studio model, when it comes to the deflector array, when all the lights are switched off, all of the bits that light up blue in between the ribs, when it's switched off, they kind of come up black, which they never really did on the last kit. So I'm going to experiment on this one. I'm basically going to use the Tamiya Clear Smoke and just give it a real light dusting, nothing to actually impede the light coming through them, but just a real light dusting of the Tamiya Clear Smoke. And I'm kind of hoping that by the time that we've got all of the light switched off, you're actually going to, it's actually going to look a lot darker than what it should do, if that makes sense. So we've got that kind of balance. What I'll do, if I can find the one that I'm looking at, I'll put that up on the screen, so you kind of get to see what I mean, both with the Bussard scoops and also the deflector array. So for me at the moment, it's just a case of mucking about with these little bits to try and get some effects done on these, and also getting the both of the warp nacelles put together, and then starting to proceed to get the pylons attached to this, and then get the rest of the work finished up for the fantail, and then get everything attached to the fantail, and then hopefully I can just work a little bit of magic from there. But as I say, at the moment it's just way too hot to do any serious level of painting. So yeah, I think it's just going to be a case of taking my time with this at the moment, and just doing everything in small stages, which isn't a massive issue, to be fair. So that's about it for the moment, guys. I will come back to you when I've got some more work carried out to this wee beastie. So we've got the port side nacelle put together now. Found that I didn't actually need to put anything at all, or any dry brushing or white paint on the Bussard scopes at all. Just the matte clear varnish was good enough to actually bring that down to what I needed, really. So that's good. And as you can see there with the chiller grill, you can't see through that at all, which is fantastic. We've got the pylon on as well. One of the good things with this actually really is that because I don't have the exhaust thrusters, the impulse exhaust put on yet, it being the photo etch from Green Strawberries, it meant that I could actually go in there and basically fine-tune the SMD that's inside there. It basically gets out the way of the impulse intake. Because before I was having a bit of a hot spot with the light in the middle there, because you can't really judge it too well when you're putting that in as to where it's going to be to get it looking good. So I managed to basically get a little cocktail stick right down in there and just push it to one side, just far enough in that way that you still get a really good glow, but you don't get the hot spot. So that's pretty good. What I'll do is I will hook this up to the power supply, and you'll be able to see this. And to be fair, I'm actually liking the lights on this a lot more than the other one that I built. This has got a better glow on it than the other one did. Let's just try and get that in again. This little clip, it's wearing out. I need to buy some more. What I'll do is I'll just I'll leave that there for a second as a little bit of a teaser. I'll turn the main lights out so we can see better. So there we go. That's the main lights out. And what I'll do as well is I'll turn off my desk lamp as well, so you can actually see it. I mean, that's still a little bit washed out on the camera, but not too much, not as much as they mainly are. And then you can see with the Bussard scoops there, they've come up a nice sort of red, and then we've got the red there for the navigation light, and then one on the bottom there as well. And then if we turn this up and just put my hand in the way there, you can actually see that there's no hot spot at all on the impulse intake there. And when we get the exhaust put on there and painted, you're not really going to see too much in there either, really. It's just going to be a nice little glow coming from there. So I'm quite happy with that actually. That is actually looking really good. I'm chuffed to bits with that. It's taken me ages to get to this particular part on this. Let me get the light in here back on if I can find it. There we go. One of the things that I have done with this as well to simplify it is on the last kit that I made, I basically had the positive and the negative from the Bussard scoop coming out through the pylon. I also had the positive and negative for the chiller grills coming through, and also a positive and negative for both of the navigation lights going through there. So there was a total of 6 wires going through there, but now there's only 2 in there. Basically what I've done is the LED that is there for the Bussard scoop, I've basically attached that to this end of the blue LED tape for the chiller grills, and then the 2 SMDs that I've used for the navigation lights, I've actually added those to this side of the LED tape. And then when I ran the wires through the pylon, I basically used the soldering iron and melted off some of the plastic from the wires, and then basically wrapped the wires and the resistors around the corresponding wires, and then soldered those in, and then they come out just on their own like that. And then all I've done is, just to make sure that nothing shorts out in this area, is I basically glued the wires down to the surface with super glue, and then basically used the super glue to cover the wires as well to stop any sort of current going through them, which is a nice little trick to use actually. Super glue does normally tend to stop any kind of current going through it. So that's come out quite well. I'm really happy with that. And one of the other things that I've done is basically the hinge pin. So this basically goes between the fantail and also the kit as well, and the pylon. I've basically drilled 2 holes straight through, one for each wire basically, and then I've glued the pin to the inside of this, so it won't go anywhere, so those wires will not get trapped. So basically when that's actually in, it's just going to hinge like that, and it's not going to cause any damage to those wires at all. Not that I actually play with the warp engines on the ship anyway, but if you wanted to pose them at various different angles, you could actually do so, and it's not going to harm the wires at all. So yeah, that's looking quite good. Quite happy with the progress on that. The other warp nacelle is currently, let me just pan out a second here. Whoop, no, that's the wrong way. Come on, Richard. So yeah, this is the other one. So we've got this together. So basically, again with this, as I say, is all we've got is the 2 SMDs, the LED at the front, and the strip of blue LED tape, all hooked up to these 2 wires. And then when, again, I attach the pylon to this side, I'll just do the same technique again, and just basically melt some of the sheathing on the wires, and do exactly the same thing. So what I'm going to do is I'll stop this video here. I'll get this one done, and then I'll come back to you just to let you see it, and then you'll see both of them together then, looking pretty good. And then I think it's going to be time to call it quits on this video, because by then it was going to most probably be about 20 minutes long or so. So there you go. That's that for the minute. So I will come back to you once I've got that nacelle finished off. Good thing is we've now got the starboard side nacelle finished. We've basically used the same technique on that as we did with the port side when it comes to the wiring, so we've only got 2 wires coming through there, so that's absolutely fantastic. The other good thing is that I've actually well, last night I was taking some pictures of the port side nacelle on my still camera, and the blue glow coming from the chiller grills isn't actually washing the camera out, which is really, really good, because normally it does. And then it's the same thing as well for the red lights for the Bussard scoops. They're not actually letting any sort of massive amounts of light out or washing anything out, which is really, really good. So the next thing for me to do is to get both of these attached into the fantail section and get that put together. Reader space, the retail kind of space on the inside of that is really, really slim, because there isn't a lot of room on the inside, and then you've also got the two SMDs for the anti-collision lights. You've then got the two port side nav lights, and then the two starboard side green lights in there, and then you've also got the lights that I need to put in for the room as well that goes into the fantail. So there's a total of 8 lights in there with the corresponding resistors, etc., and then all the wires that come through. I'm trying to get the wiring put down to a bare minimum in that, really, to be fair. But then we've also got the wiring for this that's got to go through into the fantail before it snakes out into the main sort of engineering hull of the ship. So yeah, things are a bit tight there, so it's going to take a bit of time really just to get all the lighting squared away properly in there. But that's going to be for the next update. So I'm just going to carry on and get that done. So that's going to be about it on this video, guys. I will catch up with you in part 10 of this build. So until then, thanks for watching, and as always, please do take care.